Hi guys, I would just like to give you a quick welcome to this video, how to make your first shirt design in Adobe Illustrator. So today we will be creating a retro gaming t-shirt design, which will be quite simple to create. I'll also show you how to set up your document. We will also look at a few useful tools that are great, such as the Pathfinder tool, which will allow you to create unique shapes easily. I will also briefly show you how to take a font and turn text into an editable shape. With that in mind, let's get started. Select New File, then Print. Name the file whatever you please, but I'm going to name it Retro Gamer Shirt. Change the size from millimeters to inches. I'm going to set the width to 14 inches and the height to 17 inches. Make sure the orientation is set to portrait and the document raster is set to 300 ppi. Then click on Create. So the first thing we want to do is create two circles. So to start creating your first circle, you can either just press L on your keyboard, which is the shortcut for the ellipse tool, or you can simply select it from the tools panel on the left. While holding Shift, create a circle. Press V on your keyboard. This will select the selection tool from the tools panel. Highlight the first circle by clicking on it and copy and paste it by pressing Ctrl C followed by Ctrl V. Drag the other circle so that they line up nicely. Next up, we want to make a rectangle, so you can either press M on your keyboard or select the option from the tools panel. Position the shape around the halfway point of the circle. That looks alright. Press V to select the quick selection tool and drag over all three of the shapes that you have created. Go to Window and select the Pathfinder option. Select Unite. Now we have the one shape. I'll just centre that. It's always great practice to manage your layers, so I'll just do that now. I'll just name this one Controller. Add a new layer. I'm just going to call this one L2 R2, as I'll be adding buttons at the top of the controller. Close the layer panel. Press M to select the rectangle tool. Draw in a rectangle and place it neatly at the top. Copy and paste the button so we have one at each side. Like earlier, press V on your keyboard for the selection tool, highlight it and press Ctrl C followed by Ctrl V. Click on the main controller layer. I want the stroke to stand out more, so I'm going to add some additional weight to it. 3 points look good, but feel free to go higher or lower. Keep the design consistent and do the same for the L2 R2 buttons at the top. I'll just go to the layer panel and lock both at the moment and create a new layer. I will just call this one Pad. Again, press M for the rectangle tool or select it from the tools panel. Draw a rectangle, copy and paste it like we done earlier. We're going to rotate it, so with the new shape selected, hold in Shift. This will keep the shape perfectly level. Drag it into place to make an even cross shape. Again, like earlier, highlight both shapes, then select Window, Pathfinder, then click on Unite. So we can now add some buttons to our design. Go to your layer panel, lock the pad layer, create a new layer and call that Buttons. Press the L button on your keyboard to bring up the ellipse tool. While holding the Shift key, create your first button. Feel free to play about with your own design. Like earlier, copy and paste. Press V for the selection tool, drag over all the buttons and neatly place them in the middle, approximately. While holding Shift, make them slightly bigger. Select the rounded rectangle tool to make a star and select button. Make one shape and copy and paste the other so the sizes marry up. Centre these. I'm now going to start adding colour to the design. This is the colour palette I will be using, so if you're following along you might want to pause the video to take note, but please feel free to use your own colour choices. For quickness I have skipped ahead a step. I have created my colour palette on a new layer and placed the 6 circles just off canvas. If you do the same, just remember to add the 3-point stroke to the circles, as we will be using the eyedropper tool, which will essentially copy and paste those exact styles. Unlock all of the layers as we need to be able to edit them. On the layers panel, click on the circle next to the controller layer. Either click on the eyedropper tool in the tools panel or press your shortcut I on your keyboard and select the silver colour at the top in your colour palette. Simply repeat that step with the rest of the shapes on the design. It is perhaps worth mentioning that black, white, red and navy blue are the best selling coloured shirts when it comes to print on demand, so it is worth keeping in mind when designing a product, as you'll certainly want to have those colour choices available to your potential customers. I now want to add the text Retro Gamer to my design, so I'm going to find a nice font I can use for free. I'm just going to assume you have an Adobe CC package as you are following along with an Illustrator tutorial. Adobe Fonts comes free with your package and has a great foundry of fonts to use for commercial purposes. Dafont.com, however, is freely available and again has a massive selection of fonts created by many users who use that platform. While these are free for personal projects, it is imperative that you check the license, as you may have to pay for a commercial license. For this tutorial I'm going to stick with Adobe fonts, but feel free to use whatever you want. On the fonts.adobe.com homepage, click Browse All Fonts. I know what font I'm looking for, it's called Marvin, so I'll type that into the search box. As you can see, I already have the slider set to active. You will need to have your Creative Cloud app open so that you can activate your chosen font. Sometimes it can take a wee while to actually become active. Press T on your keyboard or select the type tool from the tools panel on the left hand side. Type in the word retro. I already have my font selected. You can do this on the character panel on the right hand side. Set the size to 140 points. Press V on the keyboard or select the selection tool from the tools panel. Click on retro and drag it down and more centrally. Press I on your keyboard to select the eyedropper tool and select the silver colour. I'm going to disable the stroke. Select the type tool again and enter the word gamer. Press V, click on the word and drag it into a more convenient location. Again, press I on your keyboard to select the eyedropper tool and enter in the darker grey colour. Again, remove the stroke. Feel free to make any quick adjustments to your design. Essentially that is the design finished. I would just like to show you one little last tip, but you don't need to follow along, you can just watch. It can become really tedious uploading your fonts to every computer or device you use, or perhaps even losing ones that you have downloaded already from the Adobe Foundry or another marketplace that you might find are no longer available. So if you highlight both the retro and the gamer layer, go to type and click on create outlines. You have now made that text into a shape. I'm just going to add a new layer to give you a quick example by putting a rectangle over the letter G. And using the Pathfinder tool, but this time selecting -front, you'll have the ability to further edit your text and make it into a more unique shape. But we'll revisit this on another tutorial. So finally, let's export our work. Go to File, Export, Export As. Click on Use Artboards. Anything out with the canvas will not be selected, such as the colour palette I created. Now click Export. And there you have it, your design is now completed and you can upload it to your chosen marketplace. Well, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I would really appreciate it if you would give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my new channel. Please also feel free to comment below. Any suggestions are more than welcome. Thank you for watching.